you just click down, whatever.
Okay.
Anyway, so the dashboard. For most popular patterns, if you wanted a different pattern, you just click pattern. It lists all the 22 patterns, okay? So if we wanted to do the left side knee, we click left, and we need to know how to set it up, we just click setup, okay? So stops at a black Q and a green M. So if you look at the front of the dynamometer, you'll see white numbers and green numbers. So there's a green M down here. And that goes there. Oh, whoops, hold on. I want to do the knee. There we go. That makes more sense. Black G, green M. The attachments I want to use, I can just click on the pictures and get the attachments. These are my settings on how to set my chair up and how to set my dynamometer up. So for the chair, it says the rotation is a black 40, the back angle is 85. So underneath the chair that Amy's sitting on, there's two handles I can pick up either side to rotate the chair. So I'll set that to a black 40. And then behind you, there's a little wheel I can turn that'll bring the seat back closer to you. And there are also two handles I can pick up that'll let me adjust the angle. So I'm gonna do all three of those at once. Hang tight. So it's already at 40. You're gonna sit up straight for a second. There we go. I'm gonna turn this little wheel that's behind you until I get to the base of your spine.
Perfect.
There you go. Then you can lean back. Then I'm gonna pick this up and I'm gonna adjust the back angle to 85. Your chair's all set. Does that feel better? Okay, cool. In regards to the dynamometer, so the tilt is 0. So the dynamometer tilt is 0. The rotation is a black 40, that's down here, and the height is 8. So I can pick up either one of these handles to rotate and raise my dynamometer. So I'm going to set it at a black 40. My height is 8. So I line up my 40. I do my height at 8. I lock it in. Okay? Then the last thing I need to do is align the axis of rotation of your knee with the axis of rotation of the dynamometer. So I need to bring you forward. I also need to adjust you this way, so the X and the Y. So there's a little lever underneath here called fore aft that if I pick up, your chair is going to go fore and aft. And if I step on this pedal down here, I can move you towards the dynamometer. So I just come here, I'm looking at your knee, I'm looking at this, and I'm lining that up. So axis of rotation dynamometer to the knee. I snap the fore aft in place, I give just a little push, and now we're ready to line you up. Leg comes up. Cool. So if your leg, like a lot of women, their legs want to go out. See how this is offset? I can either adjust the chair or I can just do that.
Perfect, yeah.
Yep. So this chair was originally designed by Cybex, who created the isokinetic industry. The guys that make Cybex fitness machines.
Yeah.
So they've pretty much thought of everything and a little bit more. We just happened to buy it 12 or 13 years ago. Oops, that's better if you tighten it. All right, cool. So once our patient's set up, what we need to do is, the dynamometer has no idea where your leg is, so I need to pick a spot, so anatomical position. So it says 0, so that's your leg straight out. So if I take your leg, and you have full range, and you do, I press set AZ. I need to set a range of motion for you to work through. The easiest way to do it is I pick track patient ROM. See how it says 24 and 24? It's going to measure the end point. So I kind of bring your leg up a little bit, then I bring your leg back. I get my range of 103 to 13. I press set ROM. That sets what's called software stops. So the arm stops when it hits the stop. And then I follow it up with what's called hardware stops or mechanical stops. So black H is this guy. And a green X is that guy. All right? You're all set up. So now there are 4 modes in this thing. CPM is continuous passive motion, which is this guy. Typically used for bringing down swelling, increasing range of motion. So if I wanted to use it, I click that and press start. Your leg goes back, and now the machine is moving your leg up and down, right?
That's nice.
Isn't it nice? Now what a lot of people use this for too is early eccentric contraction. So if you resist, push towards me a little.
Oh.
Feel that? So you think like you do straight leg raises, right, to try to activate the muscle. And when your leg starts coming down, just resist again a little with your quad. Doesn't that feel good? It's a better way of doing it because it's all the way through the range.
Consistent.
Exactly.
Yeah, consistent.
So you can use CPM for, again, pumping out the fluid, increasing muscle strength, or increasing range of motion. Isometric, right? So that's if you want a stable joint. So I'm pain-free at a particular point in the range. For example, 60 degrees with your ACLs early on for muscle contraction. So you just need to tell us at what angle. So if we said 60 and we press start, it says bring your leg out to 60, push, and relax. Get the idea? If I wanted to change your angle, I can just press unlock. Your leg goes free. I press lock, push. You're at a new angle. If I wanted to give you visual feedback, I can click feedback. Wait, no, that's not what I want, sorry. Click that. So bring your leg back out to 60 for me. Yep. So these are some goals, so I can put a goal on the screen, so if you want someone to work, say sub-maximum, yep. So you got to kind of be in that range, so push out. Not too much, there you go. I set it so you have to be in the range. Okay? So, if you have mobility and you have stability, we want to work on control. A good way of doing that is isotonic, fixed load, you control the speed, but you need a goal to demonstrate control. So people say 2 seconds out, 4 seconds down. A better way of doing it is if I pick isotonic, I do this, I do what's called roadway. Leg comes, oh, do you need to get that?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Leg comes back. This you need to pay attention to when you get a chance. You try to stay in the dotted line. Down, 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 down. Down a little more, faster. You gotta stay in the dotted line.
Oh, you say,
So
so you want to go up?
up,
And,
up.
I see.
So this is basically 4 seconds up, right?
Ah,
7 seconds down. There you go. So if you're trying to fatigue a muscle, right, but you don't want to put too much load on the joint, it's time under tension. So you can make this really long.
that's
There you go.
really tough. That's like a lot of.
Then what you can also do is
control.
you can make it negative. You can increase the negative. So now if you change direction, which wrong way? So if you go up and then down, you'll notice I get heavier on the down.
Oh yeah.
So it's like your buddy dropped the weight on you.
Well, biofeedback.
There you go.
that's-
Got it?
Yeah.
And you can also, if you want, you can play games. So if I turn that off, I do this, I do that. Leg goes all the way
No
back.
way. We got
I'm gonna give you
games?
this video.
Okay.
That's you. Hold on.
Oh,
There you go.
that's pretty sweet.
So now what you need to do is hit the ball. Up, 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 up. There you go.
That's
Oh, that's cool. You nailed it in the corner. Single stay. There you go. So if you're looking for random activities, yep.
It's pretty fun,
And
actually.
it gets faster and faster. No, yeah. Well, you know, especially if you're trying to get somebody off what they're being, you know, what's holding them back, right? They're a little nervous. I mean, I know your athletes are unique, but
No,
every now
they
and then
get bored.
you got to distract them. Yeah, exactly, right? Play a game. Okay. Mobility, stability, control. The last thing is you want to make them stronger. Isokinetic is the most efficient way to strengthen a muscle because it's maximum effort all the way through the range. So you just pick start. Leg goes back. Yep, push out. And pull back. Get the idea? So it's constant speed. So you get maximum contraction all the way through the range. So extensors, you get your quads kicking out, and your hamstrings pulling back, you can relax. If I want to do, this is concentric, if I want to do concentric, eccentric, I do this. Leg comes back. So now when you push out and you get to the end of the range, keep pushing out and it's going to drive you back. So just try with 25% effort. Yep, keep pushing up. There you go. So what we do with eccentrics is, see this arrow, it says isokinetic eccentric torque overload. Whenever we're driving the patient, we set the safety at a really low number so that you have to decide, no, I think Amy can take more than a low number. So concentrically, when the machine is acting like a brake, we just set it at top torque because the patient's controlling it. But when the machine's controlling it, we make you change these numbers down here. So we'll say, no, I think Amy can do more than 50 foot-pounds. So if I put 200 in here, and I press start, leg comes back. Oh, whoops, hold, yeah, leg comes back. Push out, and keep pushing out. There you go. Now you can do more. If you want to
Oh, yeah.
motivate people, you can change the graphs. I like bar graphs. Push up a little more. Because you say things like, make this bar beat the last bar,
Oh, I see.
and that keeps them motivated.
Yeah, that makes more sense to me.
Yeah. Okay?
Yeah.
Got it? What you can also do from the dashboard, if you make up protocols, so protocols are just preset exercise routines. So say you wanted to do multi-isometric, I could do here, I can click, it's here, yeah, there's one. So this is like a multi-isometric, so you're not gonna move, push out. So this is basically 3 sets, 3 reps at this one. So what you could do is you'd set your athlete up with a protocol, you can go do other things, they can do their protocol,
Yeah.
and when they're done, you come back and go, oh, how'd you do? Nice job, okay, go away. Got it? Cool, so that's there, right. So the other way to use the is this pace okay? Right. So the other way to use the Humac is I want to save the results. So what you do is you click patient, okay? We're just gonna use me. When you put your patients in, you put in a name, you put in their birth date, their height, their weight, their gender, their preferred side, their injured side, who did the test. Then you have these extra parameters, diagnosis, injury date, surgery date, doctor, and 2 extra fields, like a surf sport, right? Okay. And the idea is, later on in the program, when you print a retest, all this will be at the top, so that's good, you know what's going on. But there's also that group summary program where these become filters. So if you fill this out, then at the end of the day, you can say, well, I just want the people that had an ACL tear with an arthroscopy that was operated on by Dr. Harris, and they wrestle. And it would go find all those patients and average them together for you.
Great.
All right, so if I want to do a test, I click test. If I want to do a knee extension flexion test, I double click knee extension flexion. I would pick a protocol to do, so for example, this one's pretty common. It's a 2-speed, 60 degrees, 180. That's what you were talking to, strength test versus endurance test. You can test on any side you like, right? So we'll just set up for the left. Single set is I just want to do the highlighted set. All sets, if there were multiple sets, it would run down all the sets for this side and then come back to the screen. Whoops, I don't want that. I want this, single set. How do I set up my machine? We saw this before, so we start with the stops at G and the stops at M. 40 on the chair.
How does it do this? Like, how does it,
No, because I told it we're doing a knee extension flexion test for the
oh,
left
so
side.
it just standardized that, okay.
Like if I put it here, it wouldn't know, it would still think it's at G.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
so we go by the honor system.
Okay.
The reason we do that, for example, if you're using a Biodex machine, they don't have this. So when you change sides, you got to change the attachments. It just makes using the machine a whole lot harder. Plus, this lets you create your own patterns and still have safety, meaning you can put the stops wherever you want and build your own pattern. So anatomical 0, if you have an injured patient and they can't get to 90, or sorry, to full extension, where we want to set this baseline, you can put them wherever you want. You just have to tell us. So for example, if I said, well, she can't get to full extension, but she can get to 90, I might break out my goniometer and measure 90. Hold your leg there for a second. Then I can type in 90, and it uses that point. So the last time I was actually on the machine, that was my range of motion. If you could hit those points, it would look like this. So you get like a green there, right? If you can get to the 7, then you could use that range of motion, but that's not a good idea because that was me, so we'll do that. I'll just do track ROM. So I bring your leg back, bring it up. I usually stop a little short of full extension because as you notice when you're trying to do the eccentric side, you have to generate some force. So if your leg was at full extension, you can't generate any force at full extension, so I go just a little shy. Set ROM, put my stops at K and X. Here's my K, here's my X. Ready to rock, it's 4 warm-up repetitions, so 25% kick out, pull back. Here, I'm on to you. 50%. 75, give us all you got, Scotty. There you go. Okay, so now you're gonna get a little rest period. So the test instructions are typically work as hard and as fast as possible in both directions, go through a full range of motion, it's 5 reps. So when I say put your leg back, we'll wait for the screen to change and then blast off. Put your leg back, wait for the screen, blast off. And there are handles in the side to hold you in the seat. There you go. Keep going. All the way up. All the way back, nice. Keep going, it's 5. 5 means 5. Nice consistent curves, good job. Relax.
Boy.
It's a workout, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So then if we were going to do the high-speed test, you know, we would roll into the other side. If we wanted to do the other side, do you want to do the other side? Or are you good?
Sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
sure. So
Even
you
it
hang on
out.
to this. All right, so you walk straight. So if you want to do the other side, the quickest way to change directions, and that's another reason why this machine is so nice with the inline design, is I just want to do the right side. So it's basically the inverse of what we just did. What that means is now the stop goes to a green G instead of a black. So I take this guy, he goes here. Take this guy, that goes there. Come down here. I take your shin pad out. I take this, I switch it to the other side. I take my contralateral, not found on the other machine, but it's really nice because it holds you stable so your legs don't kick. And then all I do is I pick this lever up underneath here. I'm going to switch you and point you out the back and go for a ride. I'm going to do the same for the dynamometer. I'm going to pick this up and I'm going to push it to the other side. I'm going to roll you in. Watch your knees and I'm shooting you through that box. Cool. So this is the green 40, which is I go here and I snap it down there. This is green 40, so I go here and I snap it down there. Then I just take my monitor tray, I bring it over here to this side.
Great.
Take a walk around the machine. Yep. And then typically you have to do sometimes a little adjustment. So bring your leg up, let me just see what you do. Okay, cool. So we can probably get away with just doing this. Leg up. Yeah, cool. Quick setup. Faster than the one in Germany.
That's
Shit, yeah.
definitely
Whoops,
faster.
didn't mean to say that. Yeah. We take those on trade and we throw them out. All right, so to do the other side, we just click OK here. Same thing, I have to set your anatomical position. So if you're at 90, I do that. I can just type in 90. The third way you can set range of motion, if you want to use identical range of motion side to side, there's an option called mirror ROM. That was your range of motion on the other side, but you have to show us you can hit it. So leg comes back, leg comes up. So now you get the exact same range of motion side to side. Some people love that, some people don't. It's up to you. Like, for example, people that don't say, well, if the one side has a limited range, that's one of the parameters I look at, range of motion, so I need to know that. So if you fix the two ranges to be mirror each other, you don't know that. So that would be why you don't want to do it. Other people are like, no, I really want to know what their work value is, so I need to keep the distance the same. You would do it this way. We're just going with this way because I can set up. So set ROM, my stops at J and X. Ready to rock? So change places. So leg goes back, you give me your 4 warm-up repetitions. And I fell. Yep, you can go. Yep. So 25%, right? These are warm-ups. 50%. Yep. 75. And then give us all you got. That's the way you do it. Yep. All right, relax. Move your leg forward just a little bit. So by it being off the back of the machine, it gives you a chance to talk and it won't just start. So here's where you'd say it's 5 repetitions, work as hard and as fast as possible in both directions, go through a full range of motion. Ready to rock? So you put your leg back, wait for the machine to change screens, blast off. All the way up and all the way back. That's the way you do it. Nice. Some people like to scream at the people. These guys do. They use audible. Some people don't.
Oh yeah, last year was intense.
And they're so big over there too. It's amazing. All right, so this goes back to you. So we didn't do the high-speed test. That says not tested, not tested. So when I say OK here, it's going to say, are you sure you want to leave this screen because you haven't done all the tests? But we're going to say yeah. And it automatically saves your test results. If we want to see your results, and we do, we're just going to press preview. So it defaults to the short form. Okay. Whoops, let me change something real quick. There's just a setting in the preferences that's no fun. File. Use something else for this. File, preferences. I need to change. I want to do best rep and that. Okay. So these are just preferences that, this is back where we were. I do report. So typically what you see is this. Wow. So you're pretty symmetrical. No knee injuries in the history of Amy, huh? That's pretty impressive. I never see that.
Not that I know.
Not that I'm blowing smoke, but I never see that.
That's great to hear.
I'm impressed. Go home. Okay, so
That's
not only
between
that.
my, what is this?
Wait, is this?
Flexion extension.
Oh, this is Newton meters. Okay, so you're not as strong as I thought, but you're awesome. So here's your patient background information.
Okay.
These are your curves overlaid. So this is your quads kicking out, right? These are your hamstrings pulling back. So the protocol was isokinetic, concentric, 60 degrees per second, coming and going, right? 5 repetitions. Extensors, these are your quads. So on the right side, in Newton meters, the way you speak, 133 Newton meters. On your left side, 136. The deficit, that -2 means what we put down for the involved side was actually a little bit stronger than the uninvolved side. We put the minus there because we're kind of expecting the other thing to happen. Coefficient of variation is how consistent you are from rep to rep. Was very good. Usually under 0.12 is great. And then body weight ratio is if we're comparing people of different sizes, but you've got my body weight in there, so yours is actually better. And then the flexion values, then the work, and then the range of motion. If there was a deficit and we wanted to identify where in the range it was occurring, you could look here and estimate it, or what you can do is what's called the curve overlay report.
So the red and the green, or the red and the blue were left and right?
Exactly, right. The right is blue, the left is red. So again, because you're symmetrical, there's nothing to see. But if there was something to see, what you could do is you could either just type in an angle. You can go, yeah, I want to know at 50 degrees what's going on. So 3% deficit, or and then you can use these things to kind of move it around. So ideally, what you would do is you would frame the deficit, right, and then you'd say this is why we're going to focus on this particular area. I've almost never seen that. It's amazing. Okay. If you want to send a test to someone who's not familiar with isokinetics, you would do the narrative report. So what you can do with the narrative report is you can fill out these goals and modalities however you like. So if my goal was to increase your strength and I was going to do it with E-stim, and then I go here and I grab what's called the narrative report. What this does is it's going to pull up a Word template. You can create as many templates as you want. So maybe they're geared towards the physician, which is what this one is geared towards. You can gear them towards the patient. You can gear them towards agents. You can gear them towards insurance companies, whatever you like. But basically what it does is it takes what we saw on that test report and it inserts it into this template that's already written, so you don't have to write the letter. So it's basically just, report on it, athlete's name. This is going to the doctor. This is all from the backend information, the pathology. These are those nice curves that we saw. A little explanation, the table, and then a synopsis from the therapist of this is what we think we ought to do. Okay? If we test somebody twice, what they're going to say is, how did I do compared to the last time? You're going to want a progress report. So you're going to click on progress. It's going to show you all the tests for the person. So what you need is an initial test and a follow-up test. So the follow-up test is the one we did today. So we'll just put that there. And the initial test, I just need to find another test with this same protocol. So I think that's the same protocol as this guy. And if you're stronger than me, I'm going to delete your test. Okay, my data's not there. Good. Anyway. But test 1 results, test 2 results, and the change between the two. Test 1, test 2, and the change between the two. So you'd see the change in performance over time. Then the other way to look at the data is someone's going to say, okay, well, how am I doing compared to other people just like me? And that's where you'd use the summary program. So the summary program is like summary. It says, okay, what pattern do you want to summarize, because you don't want to summarize different tests. It defaults to knee extension flexion, that's the most popular. Then it says, okay, what protocol did you use? Because you don't want to summarize tests with different protocols. So we'll go here, and we'll grab that two-speed protocol. And then what you do is you say add. So we had the whole database, and now we're kind of shrinking it down to the knee test for this protocol. And then we're going to give it a name so you can kind of save that subset. So we'll call it the RB protocol database set. I highlight it. And then what was previously the background information becomes the filters. So this is where you guys generate your own normative data based on the tests that you've collected. Okay? So basically you could say, hey, I want everybody age 25 to 100. I'm looking for just my males. I'm looking for a particular pathology. Whatever you want, any combination of these The key to this is when you put your patients in at the front end, you fill it out. And you use the pick list so the descriptors are the same and everything matches.
Mm-hmm.
All tests are most recent tests, meaning if I tested you 7 times, throw in all 7 of your tests in the summary or just the most recent. Most people say most recent. Then how do you want the data sorted? So if it's normals, right, left, dominant, non-dominant. If you're working with involved groups, involved, uninvolved. Right, press summarize. Then what it does, it runs through the database and based on the filters, does all this filtering.
Can you go back and add things?
Yes,
Like-
you can go fix somebody's background information.
Got it, yeah.
Yep,
Mhm.
you can do that.
Perfect.
One by one, but yes. And then all these tests belong to this person, so I can compare this test to that group if I do preview. So it's basically found you, and it's comparing you to you. But what you'd have is, here's the patient, here's the filters, here's the average of the group, here's what the individual did, here's the difference between the group and the individual. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
That's your group
0%.
Yeah, because the
As expected.
most recent was you. Right?
Yeah.
Yep. And then the other thing is, to the question you just asked is, I forgot to put in the background information, or I need to fix the background information for a particular test. Yep, if you just go to, let's see, database, edit background. So you pick the test, like the one we just did. If we did update, it opens it up. So if I was a female, I would do that. So now that test has me as a female, but none of the other ones are changed. Okay? That's the end of the presentation. Good?
Perfect. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Thank you.